Hi, I'm Angela-Renee Coakley, and welcome to the Brooklyn Free Speech Spotlight on BK Live. As the summer rolls on with hotter than hot temperatures, we're going to bring the heat inside with some talk about relationships. That's the topic of an upcoming Be Seen event happening at the Bishop Gallery in Bed-Stuy on August the 27th. And today we have two free speech producers who will be screening their media projects and then taking part in a conversation hosted by me. So let's get the party started. We should welcome Shay Askew. She's got a show called Truth and the Church Girl, Conversations Among Women about being both spiritual and single. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We also have Lumumba David, another free speech producer who co-hosts a show called The Perspective, about being married and the realities that come with maintaining the relationship long term.
Brooklyn, stand up.
Right, from Brooklyn. So tell me, what's the inspiration about, behind creating the shows?
Well, for the Truth in the Church Girl, I was watching The View one day, and I said, you know what, I'm loving what these ladies are talking about, but I would love to talk about these topics, but from a Christian perspective. And so I got some girls together, and we're like, we're going to put together a show. What are we going to call it? We're going to call it The Truth, but we're also going to put a church girl with it. So everyone is always trying to figure out, well, who's the church girl? So we leave that up to their interpretation, but that's how we got started.
Okay, and what about you, Lumumba?
All right, our show is about relationships, whether you're husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, and family. And again, it's the same thing. Like, I think we need a Christian perspective, but a practical Christian perspective on how to live. I mean, marriages, whether you're talking about inside the church or outside the church, the divorce rate is over 50%. In every marriage, every remarriage, your chances of success gets lower, which is kind of counterintuitive. You think it gets higher, but it's lower. So we want to talk about, practically how you can live and how we can operate and flow together as whether a husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, because you should date, and also as a family.
Okay, interesting. So how did you both get started with Brooklyn Free Speech? Tell us about that.
Well, the Truth in the Church Girl, we had someone that was shooting our videos and editing our clips, and then he found a job working somewhere else, and I didn't want to stop the show. And so everyone was like, you need to try BRIC. You need to go out and see what BRIC is about. And I said, okay. I came down, and I wound up signing up for 5 different classes, and here I am on the BRIC network. Yes, cool. So very exciting.
You're a filmmaker originally, right? So how'd you get started here?
I'm still a filmmaker.
Okay.
But I'm not an actor. I mean, I have acted, but I like the fact that we can talk and speak about topics that I want to talk about. And I think that's not only relevant to me, but it's relevant to a lot of people that sometimes they don't want to speak about it because in the church, sometimes it's taboo to speak about certain topics. And sometimes you feel less spiritual or you feel less than if we make mistakes. And sometimes, so we kind of mask ourselves behind a Christian front when sometimes people are hurting and they need help, and we need to talk about these things.
Yes.
Well, we have some clips for both of you. We're going to start with you and the single lady, Shay, and you're next, all right? So let's see what's going on with the Truth in the Church Girl.
Do opposites attract. Let's talk about that, shall we? I don't think you should force yourself either to like somebody you don't like. And what's a must-have when you're dating? Like, should a guy have? He has to have a car. He has to have money. He has to have his own place. Like, what do you? There shouldn't be any set rule for everyone. Exactly. Exactly. You know what you want. I know what I want. You know what you want. You have to be compatible. There is no other way around it.
So you have to see this man as your king, as your warrior.
So women still look at men as if they're the king. You're my king.
Majority of the women don't, because they feel independent. I don't need no man, but honey, I can do it by myself. This is where they get it twisted.
Right. You gotta pick up the tab.
The job is to pay the tab. If a man is coming into your life to be your husband or want to court you, date you, that turns into marriage, he should prove himself to you.
Yes.
And show you that he can be the man that he's supposed to be.
Well, all right. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that, okay?
Yes.
I guess we're going to just talk about this for a second.
Yes, yes.
So tell me, why do you think conversations about relationships are so important?
Because we're relational beings, and I think, people want to get it right. And so how do we get it right? And we have so many questions, when we see someone get their relationship wrong or the relationship ends, it's like, well, what happened? Why did that happen? Can we talk about it? And some people don't want to talk about it. So I kind of want to know, especially when it comes to looking at a man as a king. I kind of want to know, do women look at their man like, not to say that I don't, I'm just like, well, what does that look like exactly?
We're going to explore that more too on
we
the
will,
27th.
yeah.
All right, let's check out your clip, Lumumba.
Okay.
If you found out that your wife was cheating on you, will you forgive her?
Lord help her. Lord help everybody. Would I be able to forgive? See, I've never been put in that position with my wife. So let's talk about forgiveness. Would I be able to forgive? Eventually, I would. I would say I would. I mean, I hope I would eventually. And see, this is the thing that Christians got to deal with. We say a lot of nice stuff, you got to forgive, but in actuality, the practical aspects of doing it is tough. So would I be able to forgive? I would say eventually. Would I be able to continue a relationship? I don't know. And I'm going to be honest. I want to say that I would. I want to say that I really would want to, but I don't know because I've never been put in that situation. And like, I love my wife a lot, and that's an understatement. I don't really have words to describe like our relationship or my love for her.
Oh, that was real. That was real. So what excites you about the upcoming event at the Bishop Gallery? What's exciting about it?
I think we get to voice, at least from my standpoint, and she probably has the same perspective. You get to voice the Christian side of things, or the Christian perspective. And again, it has to be practical and applicable to everyday life, or it doesn't make sense.
What excites you?
Well, like he said, I'm excited to talk about it from the Christian perspective. I think that definitely people who have a relationship with God, you do things different than the world does it. And so, and that can get very deep, but you do it differently, and it looks different for everybody, even though we call ourselves Christians. And so I wanna be able to explore that, how it looks from a church girl perspective. So.
Very interesting. This should be exciting. So what have you both, either one of you, learned about being media makers here at Brooklyn Free Speech? Talk about that a little.
Ooh, I've learned so much. I've learned what's in terms of what you're putting out there for the media to see. It's important. If you have a platform and you're using your voice, you need to use it for something that matters.
Indeed.
That's the biggest thing that I learned here at BRIC. Use the platform for something that matters.
Awesome. Your thoughts?
I've learned a lot. But one of the things I've learned is things never go as planned, and any filmmaker, anybody that does productions can tell you the same thing. But at the end, if you're diligent, it all works out. And I just love, again, being able to share, and I love to hear people's feedback. And we want to be not better, but I want to be excellent at what I do and what I put out. I mean, sometimes I've erased entire shows and said we got to do this over because you want it to look a certain way. And again, at the end of the day, we want to be entertaining, but more than entertainment, I want to have an impact on somebody's lives, even if it's just one.
Well, that's awesome. I appreciate you guys coming. I'm looking forward to this on August 27th.
I am
All right.
too.
All right.